Yes.
Holy fuck, that's like a mill. Get in there.
I'll hit the delay car.
Yes, another day working on the Hilux. How exciting! Well, we're not off to a good start, but I'm not letting this get me down. Luckily, I was surrounded by a plethora of other cars, and jump-starting it was not an issue. After all, we all need a little jump-start every now and then. But as I ran back and collected the camera, I looked at the car and... whoa.
Oh.
I lined the car up on the hoist and noticed a strange smell. I investigated, and it appeared I rolled over a big pile of shit. Just like the flat battery, I didn't let this stop me. I continued dismantling this car and getting it down, ready for the diff swap. Now that the wheels were off and the draft shaft was just about ready to be disconnected without me even touching the bolts, I obliged to its wishes and removed it. And next up was to start the teardown to actually remove the diff housing. Luckily, I witnessed Jay do this on his car that I actually took the diff from, so I had a rough idea of what I was going to do and how I was supposed to do it. I removed the brake calipers and rested them on the front leaf springs for them inevitably to fall and shock load the brake lines, leading them to hopefully snap in the future when I'm bonnet down a hill with my life on the line. Dreams and goals aside, I was removing the hubs, and this is a little life hack for those of you who don't know how to remove a cone washer. Thread the nut on just enough to have the bolt poking out, and then with any sort of hammer, tap the bolt as if you were tapping that subscribe button. Ha! And I don't think you were expecting that, were you? Mitch, you sneaky little boy, chucking a little subscribe plug in there. I like your style. But in all seriousness, if you want that cone washer removed, you'll tap that subscribe button. Because if you enjoy these videos and want to see more of them in the future, a subscription would definitely help, as well as a like. If you could like the video, that'd be great. Wow, and just like that, we're exposing the spindles. We're moving along at an alarming rate. Now, next up is the tedious act of removing the steering components from the knuckles. And a few of you are... wow. And a few of you are wondering where I got this special tool from, and it's just a ball joint separator, just from any automotive store or something. And a few of you advised me to give it a few gentle taps with a hammer to persuade it not to violently explode in my eyes. Thank you. I think you guys are onto something. Yeah, it got to the point where I didn't feel safe trying to remove that ball joint, so I just left it in. But now it's time to start disassembling the knuckle. This is another violent part. Alright, now that both the knuckles are off, I'm able to just about disconnect the diff. I'm lowering it back down onto axle stand so that I can remove the shocks and the leaves, and then lift the car back up away, majestically, from the diff. And now's when I wish I had, I don't know, some sort of different leaf setup, because look at these shocks, look at how much more travel I get. Oh, and also look at how they're stuck. And just like many things, with a few love taps, I'm able to release it from its grip. It's now time to take the center out and make sure that it'll fit into the other diff housing without touching that dent that we saw in the last episode. Now, I have a bad habit of always using too much gasket glue and essentially gluing the two pieces together, so I had to get a pry bar and really shake this thing to the core to separate it. But as we can see here, it fits beautifully and it does not touch that dent, so happy days. Time to comfortably fall back into my bad habits and make another huge, overly confident gasket.
Ow. He's gonna die.
I never die, Sam. But not for me. Should have done this when the car was up.
You will need it because that's the heavy. The
Yeah.
front's the heavy bit.
Just a filter. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean,
Fuck it up with some other shit.
once the leaves are...
Later, in the void.
Alrighty, good morning everyone. Welcome back to the... this is still the same video? I mean, blimey, it sure is. We're only 5 minutes and 12 seconds, 13 seconds, 14... Anyway, the point is, I had to come back the next day because I was stumped. I honestly thought this wouldn't take as long as it did, and it took forever. But as you can see, on the previous day, I managed to get... hello? I'm trying to do a voice... Stop! I'm trying to do a voiceover here. You can't just be making Oh, I thought he was going to do it again. Anyway, what I was saying, I'm reassembling the knuckles. And I'm also fitting new bearings that I got in my swivel hub rebuild kit from Online Auto Parts. Not sponsored.
Axel, wait. You can't have that.
Well, what do you know? The car is done. The diff swap is finally complete and I can put the wheels back on knowing that I have a new diff housing with no gouged out knuckles. Life's good. But you know what's better than that? Well, just watch. I'm not surprised really, and that's evident by the fact that I already put the jumping cables on my battery. I just haven't connected them to Sam's car yet. But with the power of that mighty Duramax, I'm able to start up the Hilux like a nobody's business. On a side note, without a bull bar, look at how good that diff push looks. That's a pretty good attack angle. Anyway, in order for me to remove my car from Sam's hoist, I needed to remove his Mustang from my way. And just like that, I was able to wiggle my way out into the open air. Mind you, I couldn't get fresh air because the dog shit is still on my tire. But it felt good to drive the car off the hoist. Even though it wasn't on the hoist for too long, it's good to be back on the ground. And even better knowing that we're one step closer to taking this car off-road, tackling the tracks at Glasshouse once again. Let's just hope that it doesn't get shut down before I get a chance to do so. Regardless, once again, I want to thank Sam for letting me use his hoist and his tools. I really appreciate it. And like the good little slave boy that I am, I swept up after myself and put all the tools back where I found... Well, they're tools. I guess they're toys. Big boy toys. But one final look at the car and it looks great. Well, contextually. That shiny new diff is sort of standing out though, so I think sooner rather than later, if we can get it off-road, that'd be good.